Okay, so now I have my box. I went ahead and I glued down those sides, and you'll notice I put the tape around. And if you look inside, I have those corners. They're debulked. They're just not going to bunch up and have a problem because I put that miter edge in there. So they wind up looking like these kind of like file folder tabs that are on the corners. So I glued them down and made sure that they were really nice and right angled, so that I didn't have any like if I put my fingers together, they didn't do that little number where they're off, okay? They don't slide in and leave a groove. They're hopefully flush, and they make a nice right angle when I glued them on. Put the tape lightly just to kind of hold them in place and make sure nothing happens to them. So that is the box. I will set that aside. The next thing we did in class was we had an 8.5 by 11 rectangle. We went ahead, I had that pre-slabbed, but my student that is abroad may have to cut out of that 12 by 12 piece that I packed him away with. So go ahead and cut an 8.5 by 11 piece. And then out of the bottom, what we did was we took our box in class and we lined it up to that 7-inch mark. And you can see we have a margin, whatever's left hanging off the edge, which is basically 3/4 of an inch on either side. We went ahead and we drew a line across at 7 inches. So this is our 7-inch area. And then we made a drop in. So I cut a corner out. This area right here is meant to drop down into my box. See how it fits in the back like that? So go ahead and you'll cut that piece out. And then the next thing is that we're going to and I don't mind eyeballing it, but it's not always the way to go. But every 1/2 inch, making a mark, a line down, and every 1/2 inch, what you're going to do is make a score line. Now, normally what happens is you score. You remember here, we made a score, and then we went ahead and bent it, and the score line was on the exterior of the box. But here, this is the problem. We want to make a rounded lid, and we want that rounded lid to not look too chunky, monkey on the inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to score, but we're on the inside fold, which is kind of tricky because you want that inside fold to be able to fold and not be bulked up and like kind of jammed in. So the way to go ahead and do that is to make your lines, and then when you go ahead to score interiorly, I'm going to have to move my ruler a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to line that up on our line. Get that straight. Okay. I'm going to actually take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to kind of cut at an angle going in at a bevel. And then I'm going to move my ruler just a smidge over and I'm going to cut at another bevel, hopefully making a V cut all the way down. And that's going to leave a little bit of room. Now this takes some practice and I'm not sure I always land it. The kids that were there in class are going to go, yeah, she didn't land it. But you'll wind up with this weird kind of hair line. Whoa, I'm not running along the ruler because I've got this stand for my phone. But you're going to make a cut going across and then move it a little bit and make a cut going the other direction. Again, we're making that V cut. And you might notice, do you see that I've got pieces kind of coming out? Do you see I've got those pieces? I don't know if you can see, but I've got these pieces coming out. And those are going to fall out. Brush those aside. Go to the next one. And so you're going to continually make these V cuts. Maybe I should go sideways here. Now, we chose an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, but it's going that way. Move it down a little bit. And I'm going to make a V cut going in and beveling the other direction. And that is going to leave these hairs. Do you see these hairs coming out? There we go. Pulling it out. May not do it the whole way, but it will be enough that as it bends, it's going to really not... Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's not gonna detract from the curve. So I go ahead and I do that all the way down. Cut one direction at a bevel, slide it over just a little bit, cut at another direction at a bevel. And again, you're scoring, you're not cutting through the whole thing. But you might notice this hair coming off. Okay, now, another thing is, we chose an 11-inch lid. This is the lid, right? You don't need all 11 inches. You just need it to come through, drop in the side of your box, and go around the lid. Now, one thing, you can see where I've made those bevel cuts. You can see where I have not. See how it's nicely folding in there? One way to assess where you need to stop is I'm lining it up. Oh, let me move it over for the camera. I'm lining it up so it matches. Can you see? Maybe not great. Okay, where it's going, the slot is going to enter into the box, and what I can do is just roll. I'm going to roll that box along that edge to assess when it will end. Oops, I slipped. Sorry. Assess where it will end. And then I'll be able to decide where it ends, and I've already marked it off. I already did it, but it ends about right about there, and I want my lid to go a little bit longer. So I know that really about here is where I'm not going to have to do all those hairline cuts again. So I would hairline and cut all the way through and end right about here. Now, because we're at a little bit of interest for time, because I can't believe this video is already 6 minutes long, I'm going to go ahead and cut on that edge. Now, let's say that I've done all of that hairline cutting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to go ahead and, if you can kind of eyeball it, I'm going to score along that edge, because remember, if it's at all possible, we want to make sure that the exterior is where the score is. So I'll go ahead, I'll grab my ruler, I'm going to make my score on both sides. Whoa, come on. Paying it too much attention to the camera, not much to my project. Square that edge. Okay, and this would of course curve nicely. Now the problem is it will curve nicely once I make all those cuts, but this will not allow it. So you're gonna have to go in and do these triangle cuts. You're debulking this area. This is done in sewing, in pattern cutting. These little cuts go all the way along. Cut, 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 cut. Be more careful. I'm kind of hacking at it because I'm trying to get you out of here and onto your project, but see how that goes? All those little tooth line grid. Whoa, sorry. Whoa. Make sure that they do definitely. Go slower. I'm living life on the edge here. Okay. One more. Okay. Now I can go ahead. I can glue that into the box. And when I go ahead and glue it, I'm going to put a little tape on the back right there. And I will be able to then, it will curve around my box beautifully once I get it all scored and ready to go. Okay, so I've ended it right there. It's a 9-minute video. It's a little longer than I wanted to go, but that'll get you to the next stage. Okay, and we'll go ahead and learn how to glue that and put our edge on and put our clasp on. Okay, take care.